push. Oh, okay. According to progress. So that's one, making, our schools safe. And I think with the new start, new buildings, I know our schools are gonna be safer. And if I could, top three needs, needs, here's the problem, we get asked a question and the needs are so vast. We need more money. We need the federal government to follow through with monies that have been promised to us, that we have tried to budget on. And that's not looking like it's gonna happen, so that's gonna be money we're gonna have to find elsewhere. So having a predictable amount of money coming out of the governments is a challenge that's gonna face not just our school, but every school across this nation. So, those would be our top three needs right now.
Okay, thank you. And Ruth, you're the second.
I agree with Sarah that cell phones are a major problem. As classroom teacher, I spent an inordinate amount of time of my class time, instructional time, just dealing with cell phone issues. And they're simple solutions like putting them in pockets. But then they ping and the kid's gonna go and answer it anyway, so it doesn't help much. Kid safety is definitely a priority, and the fact that in middle school we started locking our exterior doors and there's only one entrance really, I think, helps. Attendance is my third issue because I had a lot of kids that were chronically absent. We're talking about to the point of like a day a week. And you can't teach them if they aren't in school.
Okay, thank you. And Kim, you have 2 minutes. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah,
Okay. What do you believe are the top 3 needs in the Port Angeles School District?
okay. I'm glad you asked that question. And if you open up my brochure, there is a little piece of paper, and I think that addresses it. And one is, I think we need more parental involvement. We need to get the parents into the schools and involved so they know what's going on in the school, so they can get their kids to school, involved in the school. They can get the students to behave in the schools so the teachers can teach. And I agree with the attendance. 72.1% of the kids attend schools 90% of the time. And you can't teach the kids in school if they're not there. So we need to be talking to the parents, getting their kids to school. We need to support the parents so that we need to know why they're not coming to school. And the third issue is the kids are not reading, and the test scores in reading and math are dismal. I have the 55% of the kids are proficient at reading and 44% are proficient at math. And I think we need to, I know funds are tight, and I think for the kids that are not proficient, especially in the early reading or early years in the elementary school, we need to get summer school going. So if they're not proficient in the early years, I think they fall behind. If they fall behind in the early years, they're not going to be successful in the later years. So we need summer schools, we need mentoring, and we're out of time.
Thank you. The second question will come from our live audience, so I need to figure out who wants to stand up and ask a question. Any here have a question they want to read? Okay.
How do we get parents involved in the schools?
Okay, the question is, how do we go about getting parents to be involved in the school? And so Ruth, you're the first one to answer this question.
Well, we always found that to get parents to attend things, we feed them. It really does work, but we have a lot of parents that are either working 2, 3 jobs to keep hearth and home together. We have chemical dependency, apathy. It's a seemingly an overwhelming problem. We start though by, teachers do this anyway, is make constant, contact with parents, especially at the beginning of the year. So that the lines of communication are opened. That's the start.
Okay, and Kim, you're next.
Well, I came up with this idea that you have parking lot parties, like for the elementary schools. I think school board members and other people can go out in the parking lot, so when they pick up their kids from school, you can go out and talk to the parents. Just advertise that you're available, so if they want to come early, they can come talk to the parents, and you just advertise that you're gonna be there. You could go to PTO meetings, you can advertise that you're gonna have parent workshops. You just make yourself available. You could text, like right now, you could be texting parents that you're gonna have workshops, or you could have reading tutoring programs. You could text them that you would be available to hear their concerns. Get ideas what they think, because I think you have to go to the parents too. You can't always expect the parents to come to you, because like, I think what someone was saying is that they're too busy. So, you can't always expect the parents to come to the schools. Maybe go to restaurants. Go to where the parents are. So I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you. And Sarah, same question?
Look, I feel like there's some sort of misthought that our schools aren't available and open for parents. Their parents and any staff, any community member is always welcome in our schools. There's a little thing, we encourage parents to come in. We encourage people who are great mathematicians or great readers, come on in. We're begging for more volunteers. Anybody who wants to, there's just a quick little form you fill out. We check for your safety and in you come. We would love that. So that's for one. I don't think approaching people in the parking lot when they're trying to get home and get dinner on the table is a very great way. We advertise and are available. We had a forum when we went through the last year's strike situation. We had a parent forum, really a community forum, and we're asked to start opening our doors more to people coming in to speak to us. So what we did is every other meeting, we go to the Wildcat Cafe at 4 o'clock and we sit there for an hour, and the board is available for anybody to come talk to us. You can also come to our meetings and talk to us. All of our emails, our phone numbers are all on our website. I other than going and knocking on people's doors, I'm not really sure how we get more involvement, but our Navigator program is a way that we reach these more these folks who are in a more vulnerable situation, because they are going out, they're making contact with families, they're seeing what families need and trying to build that bridge between the school and oftentimes, particularly when we're talking our tribal partners, they had not had a very good experience in the Port Angeles School District. And we have really, I'm going to just call out my superintendent here. We have made great strides over the last decade to improve those relationships and get those kids and build that government to government relationship that we have going. And it's been really good, and we're starting to see things really take off with that. Sorry, I'm out.
Okay, and Ruth?
She talked already.
You got all?
And she was right about food.
All right, now, the next question is supposed to come from the chat, but there's no chat question. So we will go to the email questions. When I ask this, Kim, you're gonna be the first one to answer. Okay, since public school employees in Washington State are not guaranteed binding arbitration rights, and collective bargaining process that's guaranteed to other public employees, should school employees have the right to strike as a last resort? Why yes or why no?
Well, I don't know the law that well in Washington State, but I understand that there's a law that says they're not allowed to strike. Is that just the teachers? Would you, I guess I can't answer that, but I would think that as the Board of Education and the administration, hopefully you could work out a deal so that the strike would not be an option that you would want to pursue. I think striking takes away instructional time, and it also inconveniences the parents, and it's just not a good option. So hopefully you would never want to get to that point. So I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you. And Sarah, you have this, your second.
All right.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
No, that's
All
fine.
right.
The law states that public school employees are not allowed to strike, and I followed the law. I mean, that's all I can say about that. Do I want strikes? No. Would I like to avoid them? I try my hardest. And it doesn't always work, but I have to think about the entire community. I can't just focus. I have to think about everybody, not just a small group of folks. So that's my answer. Follow
Okay.
the law.
That's fine. Okay, and Ruth, same question?
Strikes are never, we try to avoid that if at all possible. As a classroom teacher, I was not even into taking sick days unless I could not stand up. However, if push comes to shove and the sides are not listening, you do what you have to do. I walked the line last year with the paras. I could not do without paras. They work with our most severe students, most of them. And they did not feel protected by the district. And so they voted to strike and we struck with them. And it was unfortunate. It was not my favorite thing. But we have to be taken care of.
Okay, thank you. And now, we're going to go to a live question. So do I have someone who okay. Okay, you'll be next time. Go ahead and stand up and read your question.
So it's kind of
Here.
sorry, I really can hear you. It's kind of twofold. I'd like to know what the district's policy is, but also your personal opinions and policies on position on school vouchers and charter schools.
Thank you. Okay, so for that question, let's see where we are. Okay, Sarah, you're number one for that question.
School vouchers and charter schools. How do I feel about them? I feel like the research is, I believe in the public school system. I believe that public school provides children with what the society as a whole needs them to know. And that is, I believe public school is the most democratic, most even way to deliver and make sure that our kids know what we as a society need children to know. Charter schools have not shown to be this panacea that often people think they are. They believe that it's a way to keep, what it is a way to keep your kid away from that kid. That's what charter schools are. And charter schools can say, well, we don't have the ability to take the child with severe autism, child in a wheelchair. We can't do that. So they're allowed to just not allow those children into their school. And a voucher is the same idea, which is your tax money goes to pay for somebody's kid to not be with those kids. That is not a society, in my opinion. So I'm absolutely 100% a public school person. So that's all.
Okay, and Ruth, same question.
I am 100% a public school person too. If there are charter schools and public money is going into private schools, they need to run by exactly the same rules as public schools. They take all comers. They have to accommodate for disabilities. They have to accommodate for discipline, the whole 9 yards. They should be tested so that we can see exactly how they're doing. I still am not a big fan, but definitely if they're gonna be in a community, they have to follow the same rules as public schools.
Okay, and Kim, the same question. Do you want me to read, you want her to ask the question again, or do you have it?
No, I think I have it.
All right,
I think competition builds success. And so I am in favor of charter schools and vouchers. I was a nutrition director and I was in a large school district and I visited all kinds of schools, and the charter schools that I visited were very successful. The children seemed happy. The test scores, the reading, writing, math, everything appeared to be very good. I do know that they don't have to follow the same rules as about regarding the special education students. They had different rules to follow, so that is a challenge. But competition builds success. Charter schools, they require more discipline in the schools. I do believe in the public schools, that's part of the problem, is we don't require as much discipline as some of the other private schools. And maybe that would, if there was more competition, maybe the public schools would change some of their policies and competition would increase some of the success stories.
okay, we still have no questions from the chat, so we're going back to our email list. In 2023, the Port Angeles School District voted to temporarily remove the book stamped Racism, Anti-Racism in You, unquote, from the curriculum of an AP English class. The ban was intended to last only until the district could find a book offering an alternative perspective, which has yet to occur. What is your position on banning books? So this one, Ruth, you are first up.
Well, reading, what a child reads, I believe, is, it's a parent's duty to know what their kids are reading, to discuss issues if there is difference of opinions in books. Banning outright, I've got a big problem with that. Now, most of my colleagues, if there were books that dealt with sensitive topics, they would mark them as, cautionary, and they sent home letters to parents that if your kid has a book that says cautionary, you may want to read it with them. Or there are some kids that by their book contracts, they were just not allowed to read cautionary ones. But in general, I have a problem with banning books.
Okay, thank you. And Kim, you're second on this one.
I don't think they should ban books. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I don't think they should ban books, but I believe books should be age appropriate. And I do think that if there are controversial subjects, then the parents should be notified. And that would give the parents opportunity to discuss the books with the child, so that if there are controversial subjects that go against their religious or just their values, they could put that into perspective with the child. Or if they don't want their child reading the book, then they can talk to the school district about that and maybe have an alternative book that they can read instead of the one that is offered.
I do not believe that happened in the Port Angeles School District. I believe it happened, you're talking about a college and a high school class?
It says it was in a curriculum of the AP English class.
Okay, AP English class. Those curricula are set by the AP group or the college and the high school group. No book has come in front of me, with the exception of one book in the 15 years I have been on the school board, asking for a ban or a temporary ban. I don't believe that that occurred, and if it did, it never came in front of the school board or, as far as I know, the superintendent. So it may have happened in another school district, but not the Port Angeles School District. The book that did come up when I was maybe in my second term was The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, and there were several parents who wanted that book taken out of circulation. At that time, we were a 5 board for 5. That's absolutely not happening. We don't ban books. Every child in our school district and every family has a right to disagree with the curriculum, which the curriculum is available for anyone who would like to come look at what curriculum is offered in the Port Angeles School District. All you have to do is call and say, I would like to know what is being taught in 10th grade social studies. And you make an appointment, and all of that is available to you to come look at. So nothing is hidden. That's everyone's right to see what this is available. And I think book banning is a terrible thing. And the fastest way to get a child to read a book is to ban it. I love that bumper sticker, and it's absolutely true.
Great, thank you. And so now we're taking a question from our live audience, and so let me get you the microphone so I can hear your question.
Thank you. What efforts, if you were to become the new incumbent or the incumbent, will you be taking to make sure that students are exposed to artificial intelligence and open source techniques? I want to make sure that we're educating people for this century and not the last century, and not tied to monopolistic interests that are in the last century.
Okay. Thank you. I'll take your question in case I
Oh.
want to be read.
Sure.
Okay.
I think they may need to hear that again online.
Oh, online, did you hear the question?
Well.
Okay, well, so the question is, what efforts will you push for AI and open source software in the high school? So this question, Kim, you are number 1.
Well, AI is, of course, a new technology, and I think it's here. We're going, the president is already on top of it. Hopefully it's gonna be a useful technology. And I'm hoping that the district is already on it, has a task force. I know there's some brilliant teachers that already probably have an interest in it. And I think we need to establish some policies and procedures on how to use it wisely. We need to train teachers on it. We need to involve parents so that AI technology is used wisely. I know I just started using it, and I know, we have 1 minute, but I know you could probably, the teacher could assign a paper and say, bring up the history of Albert Einstein, and the student could put it in AI and it would bring up a paper. And how do you know if it's the student's work or AI? So the task force could identify, how do you figure out whether it's the student's work or AI? So I have 30 seconds left, but there's a lot of things that we need to discover and identify, and I guess we need policies, procedures, teachers that have an interest in it so that we're smart about using the technology. Because I think, going back to reading and math, we could utilize that technology to help teach our children to read and do math in a wise way.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, you're next.
Do I believe AI can replace a teacher? I absolutely do not think that that is ever gonna be a good idea. Do I believe AI is here and AI is here to stay? 100%. Now, we have to figure out how to work with AI. We have, Jared Blauser, who's our tech director, when I say he's all over this, that doesn't do it justice. He has done a ton of research on how we are going to take advantage of AI, really. I mean, AI can offer this amazing amount of information to children with almost no effort on their part, right? AI it can be amazing. I've used it, but what I've found is AI kind of lies sometimes. So we all have to be aware of that too. When you go online and you type in, who was the 49th president of the United States, it will give you an answer. We don't have that yet, but AI will give you an answer. So we have to, and then comes my favorite topic, which I've blathered on for 15 years, about librarians. And I'm talking actual librarians, and we have never been able to find the money in our budget. I believe that a librarian, a trained librarian, somebody who went to Suzzallo Library at University of Washington and they know their stuff, that's what our kids need. So they can go online, they can use the tools, but they can suss out the truth of the tools, because we don't have that right now, and it shows. We have a generation of people who have not ever been taught about how to really say, that doesn't make sense. Really? Are buffalo really killing orcas? No, that's not happening. I don't care what AI tells you. So we need somebody who can start to teach those children, teach all of us, not just kids, by the way. I would like to take a class on how to suss out truth from fiction on the interwebs, because it's a dangerous place out there. And sending kids out there untaught is just dangerous.
Thank you. And Ruth?
I worked with Jared a bit for the last couple of years on AI, tested some tools. I can tell you as a teacher, I would use it for like quick quizzes, that sort of thing. But how to make it into a tool that's useful for kids is a little bit harder. Things like writing. If you rely on AI to do your writing, you don't have to organize your thoughts. You don't even have to have any thought about it. All you have to do is a query, and it just rattles out however many words you tell it to do. So it's going to be a little while before we get it at a place where it's actually going to enhance a student's education and not take away from it.
We have
Okay,
rebuttal.
thank you.
Are we allowed rebuttal?
There's no rebuttal on this round. But as a little thing, you have 2 minutes to answer each question. If you want to use only 1 minute, use the other minute for something else, you can do that.
Oh, no, I answered the question already and ran out of time.
Okay, all right. So the next one, we're going to there's still no chat questions, so our chat folks are kind of quiet, but we have some. So we're going to go to the email. So this question is, approving the district budget is an important function of the directors. How will you work with the new superintendent to ensure that the budget reflects the board's priorities and is a useful tool in managing district finances? So this question, believe it or not, Sarah, you're number one in answering.
Approving the budget is one of 3 jobs that we have. We hire and fire a superintendent, we approve the budget, and we pass policies. That's all that the school board really can do. That's not all. I mean, it's a big job. Those are big jobs. In terms of how a budget is built, if you look online, you'll see we have required public meetings to authorize the budget. things that we want to see in the next budget. The board of directors will sometimes say, hey, superintendent, we would really like librarians. And then the superintendent has to say, I would like librarians too, but we don't have the money for that. So we have to do some amount of assessing, and that happens throughout almost an entire year that we spend seeing where the budget is. We get budget reports regularly, and we decide what we can and can't afford. This past year was just brutal. Anyone who was a teacher in this district will tell you that this last year was brutal because our fund balance dipped precariously low. We had to pass at one point that we would be willing to go into our capital monies to cover our budget. And thank goodness, and because of the really hard work that was done, we didn't have to do that, which is huge, because if you look around, if you watch education news, you will see how many districts are going into what they call binding conditions, which means that the state in effect kind of tries to take you over a little bit and make a judgment over what you are spending monies on. So our district has managed to get our fund balance back up to a reasonable, not a great level, but a reasonable level. We're not having to dig into that funding. So how we do that, we talk and we talk and we talk, and the superintendent and all the minions say what they need, and we approve it. And the town is welcome to come in. We have open budget meetings. We have just in our regular budget. I mean, we talk budget all the time. So I would love to see more people at those meetings. Give me an idea of what you want to see happen.
Okay, and Ruth, you're next on this question.
Well, it all comes down to asking questions. Clarifying, negotiating, and I would always have a teaching and learning perspective first in line. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, and Kim?
Right now, we are spending $17,599 per student, so we're spending a lot of money per student. And I would say the money is well worth it, but it costs a lot of money to teach a student. And the finances, especially from Washington, DC, are very volatile. So I know they spent a lot of time negotiating the budget this year, and I congratulate you guys because I know it was not easy. But I think that the district needs to think big. They need more money, and I think they could get that from endowments and grants. I think you need to ask the Elon Musk and the Bill Gates and the rich people for more money. The more you ask, the more you might get. And I think in the coming years, the district is going to have to reallocate resources to fund summer schools and focus on reading and math because the scores are so low.
Okay, thank you. Now we're looking for a live question, okay? Bring that microphone over to you.
Thank you. I just, one quick comment. I saw in the news late today that at the federal level, they froze public education funds. How much, I don't know. It will impact us. I'd like to circle quickly back to charter schools. And the state of Washington doesn't allow new charter schools to open unless the legislature reopens the authorization window, and that closed in 2021. So my question is, if any of you are looking for other options, aside from your regular standard classrooms, what about magnet schools? Has that ever been considered, and what do you think about that? Thanks.
Okay, so the basic question is, what is your view on magnet schools? Is that the basic
That's
question?
really, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so. All right, so on this question, Ruth, you're first.
Well, magnet schools would be, my view would be the same as with charter schools. they have to run by the same rules. And it makes kind of that focus hard, but they have to be open to everybody.
Excuse me,
Okay.
excuse me.
And,
Excuse
so
me.
Kim, you're,
Could I get a definition of a magnet school? Because I don't have kids in school and I don't know what you're talking
oh,
about.
okay, thank you, okay. Vicky, you asked the question, would you define a magnet school?
School is really. it's within
I
a
wait, I gotta
school.
give you this so people online can hear you.
A magnet school is within the public school system. It's simply, allowing students who perhaps they have some, learning issues, but they also have some special interests, and pulling them, together and then teaching around, using that as a springboard for learning all different things that you would learn in a
Is that like
in
a
a
STEM
school
school?
Okay,
Yeah,
Like a
Same
STEM
thing.
school, not,
in a nutshell.
so,
or art or whatever.
okay.
so does our panel agree with that definition?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. So
Okay,
let's see,
next.
Ruth, you just finished?
Mhm.
You're done? Okay, so now it goes back to Kim, and then comes to you.
You know, I wouldn't be opposed to magnet schools, but I just think what, we need to keep what we got, focus on reading and math skills, the basics of what we have. And, just focus on what we have, bring everything up to a level what the kids can succeed in. We don't have the funds to really expand. So why should we expand and have everything at a mediocre level when we get our endowments and our grants from Bill Gates and Elon Musk and we're a rich district? Then let's take a look at it. But I don't think we have the funds to really look at magnet schools right now. Let's do the best with what we got and expand from there.
When are you ready? When I started, when I first ran back in, when I was just a young pup, when I first ran for school board, magnet schools was one of my hot issues. Like, I was thinking, we had at the time 7 elementary schools, and we were spread out well enough. I really felt that that was the wave of the future. Unfortunately, I came along at a time when now we started closing Monroe, then we closed Fairview. And so we're down to the 5 elementary schools. And magnet schools, with the distance that our kids have to travel already, you would have to get a bus that could traverse the entirety of this, of all the way from Lake Crescent, all the way to that Blue Diamond Way. It's just financially, until once money's become available, if we have this amazing miraculous thing happen where Elon decides our school district is the place to be, great. But as it stands now, with our geography, magnet schools are not, and with only having 1 middle school and 1 high school, it really dilutes the power of magnet school. But I think if you go out in our schools, you will find that each school has its own identity, and they develop that sort of neighborhood feeling to their schools. And that is really what we need. We need more of that feeling of, well, we're the school that really focuses on drama. Like, for example, Hamilton, every year they do a big drama event. Franklin for years, and with COVID, unfortunately, it fell off, but they had a big science fair every year. And Roosevelt, it used to be Fairview, Roosevelt, they had a really big sort of a really push for a reading night. And so some of those things have fallen off, but some of those things have really got stronger. So I think magnet schools are sort of developing kind of on their own without us doing anything to them. I'm out of time.
Thank you. Okay, the chat is still quiet, so we're going back to an email question. So while the main, obviously, role of the school board is to advocate for good education, do you believe the school board should also be willing to take positions on issues in the community that might adversely affect the schools? Currently, they're talking about the Rainier project. That would be an example. So do you believe that the school board?
Am I
should-
first?
No, Ruth is. No, Kim, I'm sorry, I got the wrong. Kim's first.
And did you repeat the question?
So the question is whether or not you believe the school board, as a school board, could take positions on community issues. And one of them right now that's being talked about is the Rainier cleanup as an example.
You know, I think the school board should focus on education issues. And if you can tie in education issues with the community issues, that's fine. But the school board really should focus on education. Our reading and math scores are pitiful, and so is the entire nation's reading and math scores. And when we get students reading at proficient levels, then I think we could talk about that. But they're not, half the student population is not reading and they're not proficient in math. So why take on other issues? Let's get our students reading and doing math.
Okay, and Sarah, you're next.
There are a lot of things that aren't in the purview of the school district, but one that we have gotten involved in and have made our voices known was, and this is not gonna be, I'm not gonna have a popular opinion right now. The junior taxing districts and the forests that were promised to school districts, hospitals, fire districts. That was money promised to us because that's money we can't use to levy on to support our school district, to build our school district. So that is something that we have weighed in on. And I know that's not a very popular opinion, but we're actually dying for lack of funding. And that is monies that were promised to us, and that is money that we need. And so in that, yes, we will wade into a political thing. But if you ask me, should the school board weigh in on the city council race? No, we should not. But the city council very kindly weighed in on the bond race for us. So if there were something that I think the board could do that I think would benefit the entire town, then maybe they would. But generally, the school board is apolitical, with the exception of the one that I said we've already gotten our waded into.
Thank you. Okay, and Ruth?
Well, I'm actually pretty close to where Kim is as far as we need to kind of keep our focus and not get too far out politically, because we need to have alliances with everybody in the community to make our district as vibrant as it needs to be.
Okay, and so now we are ready for another live question. We have a live question.
Patricia had one.
Okay.
Well, thank you for being here tonight and being willing to chat with us. So the question I have, one thing I noticed, when I walked in, you guys were talking about reaching out to members, community members, getting them more involved. Will you take a position to have an opportunity to start doing Port Angeles School District board member meetings, having an online Zoom web link option for the community to be able to participate from home? The city does it. I went to the website to see when your next meeting was, and it's tomorrow, but there's no information about a web link or how I can participate at home, or if I'm traveling, I can participate online.
So the basic question is, will you make school board meetings available online so people can
My
participate?
first.
I have to look at my list. Let's see, yes, you are.
If you go on the actual agenda, Hope agenda for tomorrow night's agenda, there will be a YouTube link on the,
Give me that option when I go on there, so it's gotta be easier to get to.
okay, well, when you go to meetings, not on the district website itself. I'm sorry, I can't see what you are holding up, but it is on, you can go and watch them online. If you want to talk, now that's our big, you have to go onto No, that's I'm sorry, I will work with you right after this and show you where it is.
Well, then
Okay,
unless
okay,
it
wait,
needs to be
wait,
easier.
okay, so
Sorry,
how
I
do-
know that.
Okay, so
Okay.
down here,
But it's an
so,
agenda, and if you want to have a comment though, read or a question asked, you have 3 minutes at a board meeting to talk, then that has to go to the office of the superintendent the day prior, so that he will have that, or she at this point will have that, available at that point, but I would be happy to show you where it is.
what it sounds like, in the answer to this question, be nice if we could get the outline of how people participate
Absolutely.
online to school board meetings. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Then Ruth, you're second.
What she said.
Okay, Kim,
Yeah, you can also go online to go to past board meetings to see what was going on in the past months.
okay, so quiet chat. So we're back to email. So what, if any, impact will be experienced by the Port Angeles School District if the Department of Education is dismantled? And this one, Ruth, you're first.
Oh, you think the budget was tough last year? It's gonna get wild. Because especially special ed funding, and they're like 20% of our student population falls under the special ed umbrella. That money's probably gonna be gone, which means the state is talking about enhancing special education funding. There are some stipulations about how you utilize that money that I don't know much about yet, but also the state is gonna lose funding too, so it's gonna be wild. Lot of tough decisions ahead.
Okay, and Kim, you're second.
Well, I think the Department of Education dismantled. The money is supposed to flow down to the states. The state is supposed to give the money to the districts. Don't know if that's gonna happen, because I think politics at the federal level and at the state level right now is kind of crazy. So I think the best defense is good offense. So I think we need to try and get extra funding again through grants, endowments, and just get money any way we can and hope the money flows supposedly the way they say it's going to, from the federal government to the states to the district, and all the politicians do what they say they're supposed to do. And if they don't do it, then you vote them out, no matter if it's at the federal level, state, or whatever. If they don't do what's right for the kids, you vote them out.
Okay, Sarah?
So, this freeze on federal monies is obviously it's gonna hit everybody, every student across the entire country is gonna be hurt by this. And we have already had conversation with our staff that if you, through the federal government, are funded through, say, Title II, I believe Title II is one that's gonna, you don't need to know all the different titles, but there's a lot of different monies that come through in a lot of different ways. And those educators have already been told, if you are funded by this, we don't have it anymore. That money is gone. So we can't afford your position anymore. And it's gonna be terrible. There's not much, we can't make money, we can't invent money, we have no extra, we have no fluff left. We have a very skinny fund, general fund, extra money, the monies that you try to keep for a rainy day. We're very skinny there. So it's gonna be bad. I don't know how to couch it any other way. We're gonna have to lose positions and probably increase class size. I mean, it's just going to be bad. How am I gonna deal with it? I don't know. All I can do is we talk with our legislators and beg for more money all the time and explain to them what we need. And they're not getting the money either. So it's not gonna be good. I don't know what to tell you, Norma. I don't know.
Well, if there's no answer, there's
If it's
no
not
answer.
there, it's not there. I can't make it up.
Okay. So, no more on the chat. So now we're looking for a live question.
And I don't know that this is a school board question
No,
particularly.
it'd be a school board question.
Okay, well, this is, I've heard often hear.
It's on.
I often hear that discipline is a major problem in our classrooms. And I'm just wondering how is discipline handled in the school, at the district, local level, or actual school level? And is the problem as much as I hear it is?
It's hard to answer because we don't know what you've heard.
Yeah. Well, I've
Okay,
heard that that's
so-
the obstacle to teaching and teachers is having disruptive students.
so the question is, how does the school in general, your policies about discipline, oh, you're looking to where
Yeah.
that's gonna go. Okay, it's going to go to Kim for.
Oh,
My bad.
I've been misleaded.
Okay,
Don't listen.
so it's about discipline in
Discipline.
general and, so how are students disciplined and how are student problems handled in the school
Well,
district?
all I can do is, relate anecdotal or just what people told me is that the teachers can tell the kids to behave and, they have different ways to deal with the kids, but if the kids don't behave, they send them to the office. And it's not very effective. And I think that as far as discipline goes, I think the parents need to be called. I know when I was going to school, my parents always told me that if I didn't behave, then God help me when I got home. The school district might say you were bad, but God helped me when I got home. And I think we need to start making it uncomfortable for the parents and the student. When the student doesn't behave, you need to contact the parents. And from what I gather in just schools in general, they're not strict enough with the kids. And I think, just from the school district that I came from, the teachers did not have enough support, or the policies did not support them doing much discipline in the classroom. And I think policies need to change, and the districts just in general need to get a backbone.
Sarah, you're next.
Okay. The teachers are doing the best that they can under a very difficult situation. You can say, well, call home and that kid's gonna get it. That is not 2025. We call home certainly if a child is being disruptive. That's one of the many things in our toolbox. We're doing social emotional learning, which gets a very bad rap in certain sectors. But social emotional learning, every week, our kids get a new characteristic that we want to try to work on. The classroom works on it. We have professional development around that, where we're trying to help teachers with some strategies, because their teaching is not something that you go to teaching school and all of a sudden now you're this amazing, you can get every classroom whipped into shape. It's a learning thing, and teachers are just staying an eighth of a step ahead of kids nowadays, if that. And it's a different world out there, and we can work on professional development. I'm really trying with the social emotional learning to get kids to start learning more about empathy, and there's all different rules, all different words of the week. And I think it's helping. We have for kids who are really needing to regulate. We have rooms set aside now in every school. You have a room that you can go to help you self-regulate. this isn't, the times are different now. And in some ways, I think the times are a little better than when our teachers could take a paddle to us. I'm gonna say I think it's better, now, but kids are harder. Things are harder now.
And Ruth, your question.
It's not only the kids that are harder, but the families, you know, if you have ultra busy parents, they're hard to get a hold of. We constantly, from the classroom teacher all the way up to admin, we're constantly calling parents of kids that were acting out and making learning impossible. So it's not that the communication is not there. Now, we work very hard as teachers to have relationships with our students, to get to know our students and their families. And that goes so far. We also use PBIS, which is a social emotional program that also tracks infractions, where kids that didn't have infractions would get rewards, and kids that were struggling, we would find alternative learning situations sometimes for them. We would reduce schedules sometimes for them. We were, the admin was very flexible about dealing with kids that get on a tier 2 or tier 3, which are the highest disciplinary levels.
Okay, thank you. So now we're actually back to our last email question. So a small portion of the school district revenue comes from timber harvest. So what is your position on using timber revenue for school funding? Would you be supportive or against litigation that might delay or restrict timber harvest? And that we start with Ruth.
In general, timber harvesting, one of the big problems with like old timber, legacy forests and stuff, big trees release a lot of carbon when you fell them. You get so much money, and then, you know, if you get, say 50, 60 grand for a strand of trees, it's going to be gone in 2 months, and you have nothing left, but you have no forest, but you have just grass. So it's kind of not a solution unless we timbered everything, in which case that would definitely impact our lifestyles.
Okay, Sarah?
The forests we are talking about are forests that were, the land we are talking about is land that was developed, was actually set aside. It was logged, it was replanted, so it could be logged again. And that is what a legacy forest is. Those are the forests, the parcels that we are talking about. They're legacy forests. They were planted for the distinct purpose of providing capital funding for our school districts and our hospitals and our firefighting. That's why they're called legacy forests. We're not talking about going up into Olympic National Park and clear cutting there. These are forests that were planted, some of them as recently as 45 to 65 years ago for this exact purpose, which is a pretty good thought. You take them down, you sell them, and we're not talking about $60,000, we're talking about $2 million. And for a school district operating where we are and kvetching about what's happening in the federal government, these are a way that we absolutely can recoup some of that money that was promised to school districts and to junior taxing districts to provide for our kids, because those lands are not available for development or for homes to be built on that we could be taxing for property taxes. They were designed for this specific purpose. So how do I feel about it? I think I've been pretty clear. I'm probably not very popular in this room for that, but those are legacy forests.
Okay, Kim?
I do support the timber harvesting. And I do support contacting our legislators and getting their support in just passing legislation so that we can take advantage of that funding, because I do think we're entitled to that for our school district. And if they don't support that, again, vote the suckers out, because they're not supporting our school district.
Okay, and we're getting close to the last, now the question is from a live question?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, you guys already asked one, so let me,
Oh, he has
Oh,
his card
okay.
filled out.
I'm gonna stand up and,
First, I want to thank all of you for stepping up to run for this important position. Appreciate it. The paraeducator strike that we experienced not too long ago resulted in loss of a week of instruction and a pay increase that was approximately what the paraeducators indicated they would accept before the strike started. What is the board's role in collective bargaining negotiations?
okay. We all have the question in mind? Okay. So I got my numbers mixed up, so I'm gonna go back to where we were, and Sarah, you're first.
The board's role is to gather the information that is, we can see each of the sides. Our role is not to speak about collective bargaining. That is part of our I don't know if it's actually in our collective bargaining agreement, but generally it's not my prerogative to go out and say, well, we offered this and they said no, and then they offered this. That is not the role of a school board member. We get information from both sides. We see the financial impact that's going to happen over an entire school year. And not just one school year, but 2 school years and 3 school years. And when people say, well, it was only 10 cents per, well, you've got to start to now extrapolate. What does 10 cents per mean? Going all the way, go 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road. That you have to, as a school director, you have to suss out all those numbers. And you have to do your research and know what the true numbers are, because oftentimes things will be said in the public eye that aren't actually true. I don't know if you guys know that about the world, but sometimes people say stuff that's not actually true. And then there are people who have to sit, and I'm going to tell you that strike was incredibly painful for the board members, me in particular, because I was at the board, I was the president at the time. Wow, poor me. But still, it was a pretty difficult time. So that's our role, is to not say anything.
Okay, thank you. And Kim?
Well, I guess I was disheartened with that last strike, because I was kind of confused, because I thought it was illegal. And I would hope, and I've only been in Port Angeles 3 years, but I would hope that you would be talking to the paraeducators and the teachers, so that just in general, there would be no strikes happening with anyone. I know in the district that I was in, the paras got about the same percentage as the teachers. Don't know if that's happening or the same dynamics work. I know the lower you go on the pay scale, sometimes like the food service workers I know about from personal experience, they kind of got screwed as far as wages go. So I know the paras don't get as much as the teachers. So I don't know the dynamics, but I would hope that you would plan for everything a lot better, so strikes never happen. And it's easy for me to say in the seat, because I wasn't in the school district or available, but planning is everything. So
Okay, and Ruth?
Well, I've already said what I felt about the strike. Don't like being out of the classroom, and do note that the week that everybody was walking the lines was made up, so kids did get instruction.
Okay, so as a time check, We have promised our panel this will end at 7:30, so we have actually time for one more question because we're out of all email questions. There's no chat question. So we have time for one more. All right, Paul?
You had a question about AI already, and I realized while the discussion was going on, there seemed to be a huge focus on, well, kids might cheat with that. There's two other aspects of AI that were not covered, which is A, it is a tool they will need in the future and need to be educated in how to use. Arguably, the student who's best at, quote, cheating with AI will also be able to do better in college with their employer or whatever, because they
You
can
need to
use
get
it to their
to your question,
advantage.
Paul.
There's also writing the AI and
Paul.
learning how to do it. How would you support all of those? Thank you.
Okay. See, that's why you write the questions out, so I don't have to do that. So your question is,
What would you do to support all aspects of AI, not just preventing cheating?
okay, so Kim, you're first.
I don't have an answer for that, and I don't think anybody here does, but I do think you need a task force. I think you need to involve parents, teachers, the technology people and everyone else, and I think that, it's an up and coming, technology, and there are gonna be jobs created, and, there's gonna be a lot of jobs deleted and not needed in the future, but as many jobs, hopefully, that are deleted, there's gonna be a lot of AI jobs created. And, we need to prepare that, and nobody knows what those new jobs are, and hopefully a task force can be created and we can prepare for that. And, start preparing our students to go for new jobs and to identify trade schools, universities, and places where they can get more education and they can become the Bill Gates and the Elon Musks, so they can donate to our school district, and we can help prepare our students to read and do more math skills.
And Ruth, you're number 2.
Okay, one of the skills that can already be taught is how to make better query, because, how to ask it the right questions and to set parameters so that you get an answer that you want. It's really similar to doing internet queries. So that information is already out there, and I've seen some people do games with kids to have them strengthen their queries, where the teacher will say, you want to get information on X, Y, and Z, and set the kids off to get information on X, Y, Z, and then start talking about, well, what did you query? What did you ask the engine to do? And then look at the results. And when you start comparing, you can see what is, more and what is less effective.
Okay, and Sarah?
AI is a skill. It's a skill that's here. People are using it. My son, who just was graduated a year ago from the University of Puget Sound, that's how he did his senior thesis. It's like, Mom, this is how it works. You type in what you want it to talk about, and then it pops something out. And then your job as a student is to go through, read what it came up with, decide what's truth, what's not, and then make it into something. Because AI doesn't write, AI writes like stream of consciousness, really, at this point. It's going to get better. No doubt, it's going to get better. But it was a starting point, which saved him probably, 20 hours in the library, because it gave him the start to his thesis. And then he could, so it's a tool that needs to be taught. It can't be something that we just send children out and say, hey, go type something into. That's why I'm all about, maybe they should be called AI library. That could be a new job. I like it. Anywho, so my sister, who is in the legal field, was speaking about a judgment, I'm gotta be careful how I say this. She, a case has come through to a judge, and the attorney had cited all of these cases, and the judge went to look. Nope, those cases didn't exist, not even a little bit. So, yeah, that, attorney really took it in the shorts, I'll tell you what. So that's what I talk about, and these are educated people, and they sort of fell prey to so I'm not so worried about cheating. I mean, cheating has happened as long as life has existed, right? So, but how do we, and I mean, we can go back to blue books, and some teachers are going back to blue books, right? Remember those from college where you had handwrite? I don't even know if my children know how to handwrite anymore. It's the same as when people say, oh, well, they need to know how to write a check. Have you talked to anybody under 30? Have they written a check in the last, I mean, I'm in my late 50s and I don't write checks. I'm out of time. Anyway, of course, I told you, I tend to.
That's why we have a timer.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
warned her not to give me any quarter. I was gonna blah, blah, blah.
So you can, if you'll hand that to Ruth, we're going to go to closing statements, which will be 2 minutes each, but we won't have rebuttals after closing statements. So, Ruth, you're on for 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm probably not gonna fill 2 minutes, but all I can say is I come into the job with a teacher's eye, and I'm very focused on teaching and learning. I ask questions. I do research. I don't use AI to do my research. I actually do the real thing. So I can give common sense solutions to really difficult problems to get the best education to every child in the Port Angeles School District. So I ask for your vote. Thank you.
You're next.
Me next.
We go in reverse order.
Oh, okay. I too was a teacher back in the before times. I come at this through that eye, through a parent's eye. I raised 4 children, all of whom went through the Port Angeles School District. I have always said, and I will continue to say, I would never put my children in a school district that I did not believe in wholeheartedly, and that is the Port Angeles School District. I also come in with a school director's eye because I've been at this job now for 15 years. And I think I bring something to the table in that I can remember some of the things that happened 12 years ago. Not all of them, but most of them. And give sort of that historical knowledge as well to the school board, school district, how things happen. I love this town. I've been here for 26 years now. I think it's pretty clear by my name and that my family has been very involved in almost all the different things that are happening in this town. Because we love this town, we moved here intentionally because of this town. We looked at the school districts right off the bat, and that is why we chose this town. And I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of our school district. And I'd like to continue this job because we haven't even talked about all the amazing things that are happening. Our middle school has broken ground, our high school and our elementary school are gonna have their architects are gonna be picked soon. By 2029, we're gonna have 3 new schools in this town, and that is something to be very excited about. And talk about, 2025 stuff, what's the future, that's happening in these new schools. The future is happening, and I wanna be there to watch it happen. I feel like I've worked on this pretty hard over the last some odd years, 20 years and such. So I ask for your vote. I appreciate you having us out here, and I will hand along.
Thank you. Kim?
Hi. I'm running for the school board because I really believe that reading and math scores must improve drastically. These are fundamental skills that set the students up for success. And if we don't get them reading and having math skills at the early elementary school years, they're not going to be successful in the future years. These are the building blocks of opportunity, and every decision that the school board makes must reflect higher reading and math proficiency. I'm ready to listen, to lead, and to serve, and respectfully ask for your vote. Vote for Kim Butler because every student deserves a strong start and a bright future. Thank you.
Well, I thank you all for coming. I thank the candidates for stepping up. I know it's not easy to run. It takes time, it takes money and commitment, and we're glad that you guys are committed to the community to run. We almost set a record. We went through 15 questions. If you wonder why you feel like you're worn out answering.
She kept me on the
And
street.
we thank the audiences both on chat and live because the forum would be worthless if we didn't have people here asking you questions. And I wish you well and thank you all for coming. And we're ending 4 minutes early.
Yeah.
Okay.